Hi, this is Jianshuo. Thanks, Robert, for inviting me. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I worked for Microsoft very early days and joined eBay in the year of 2005 and started up my own business, Baixing.com, in the year of 2008. It is an online classified website, and we worked on it for almost 20 years, and it is the last generation
Mhm.
of internet. And now in the early February, I would say, maybe in January, when ChatGPT came, we made a dramatic shift.
Well, I think that's most exciting part, right? That's
Um,
actually the major topic we're going to talk about is about AI and especially, for an entrepreneur, how to do startup in AI. Our background are definitely interesting overlapped, right? Because we both work for Microsoft. But
mhm.
when I was an entrepreneur, you work for Microsoft. And when you work for a startup, I come to Microsoft.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So if I recall my days in Microsoft, I think that is a gift for me. As a college newly graduate, you have the best training, the best colleague, and the best working environment. So that 7 years was such a big gift for me to learn almost everything I needed after my startup and have some really great friends there. So that I would say it's a paradise for me.
So I think that's also let me learn a lot. Even after I, become an entrepreneur for a few years and then join a bigger company, I think the biggest value that I learned from Microsoft is a big relief. When I work in Microsoft, I realized that a company like Microsoft making all those mistakes exactly if it is not worse as we
Mm-hmm.
do in startup. So every company has its own problems, has its own pros and cons. And
Mm-hmm.
even Microsoft make a lot of bad mistakes, and we're doing things wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
so then for a startup, there's nothing to worry about, right? So because everybody make mistakes. Yeah, how
Right.
about I
Right.
come
Right.
back to one thing for today, right? Today is an interesting day, is
Mm-hmm.
because Microsoft is also involved in the AI related interesting dramas. I believe you
Mm-hmm.
heard about that.
Yeah, I heard about it, but I intentionally didn't pay attention to it because it is all news or politics or even drama. We don't have a lot of information on what is going on really, and to get that information is both tedious work among all the fake news and also not meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard a little bit about it, but I never really thought about it. And I think the right time to reveal what is going on is after 1 month or 1 year. That at that time when all the chaos become history, then we have a more complete view about what is going on and at least get all the facts right. From that, at that time, we can learn much more from this part of the history than spending time today.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ask me about anything, what is the progress about the chaos, about the SAM in and out board, Microsoft, and all these things, I think I'm a ill-informed person. I don't have any information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. We don't have the information about them, but what it's really impacted right now is OpenAI has one of the biggest outage since I use it. Right, so I think
Hmm.
ChatGPT is still down for a lot of people. It has been down for over 2 hours, and the APIs, our service that we rely on, is not stable at this
Hmm.
moment. So I would
Hmm.
say all those kind of corporate politics, but what we can see is it's hurting the users, it's hurting the partner.
Well, I would say yes, but temporary so far.
Hmm.
So anything 2 hour downtime in the longer history is a small bubble. I still remember the time when eBay went public. The eBay.com was down like 8 hours to 12 hours before the earnings call. And everyone is telling
Hmm.
Meg Whitman, it's a bad idea to have your server down for 8 hours before the earnings call. Meg said, yes, I know. So, so that kind of history today, if you look back, It's a big deal at that time, even much bigger deal than OpenAI's done today. It does not change the history just a little bit.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, tell us about what you are doing. What's your current AI startup is doing, and are you relying on the OpenAI APIs, or you are more generic? Explain to the audience what do you do? How you use the AI for your business?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, we do not work on large language model. If I look at all the landscape for the AI opportunities, I would say generally there are two parts. One is a large language model, which has a foundation, and one is the application. Obviously, I'm more passionate or, well, based on my capacity and more capable of doing the application layer instead of the large language model. So what we do is we bridge the gap between the needs, the real business and the personal needs of the users and the large language model. So this gap, today, a lot of people claim that this gap does not exist. They claim that large language model will eat everything between the language model and the user. I just don't believe it. I never saw a situation like that. My bet is the application layer will be a much bigger layer than the language in the future. So what we are doing is we help the business individuals to use their knowledge base to build a bot based on the large language model. For example, if a company have a lot of database, they have customers transcripts, they have or whatever data you have. Mm-hmm. We help them to transform all this data into the large language model, either using the vector-based database or using the depends on which capacity the large language model is providing. Build a bot that business to do the customer service, sales, and do the internal training, the digital persona of the individual, and all kinds of things. So there are a lot of things we need to do in this part. So in response to people's argument, the large language model will do everything, I just don't believe it. It's just like persuading me to believe Intel will put all the ERP and CRM system into their chip.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. To be general, is the timeline, the lifeline of any large language model. Mm-hmm. Right? You have to be really, really general to enable so many applications to be built on this large language model. So for the language model's economy to work, mm-hmm. Right? It's like Intel, they have to make a chip that is used billions of even tens of times, the same chip. So each chip is so cheap, the economy works. Mm-hmm. So I just cannot imagine Intel use all the time to build a chip that is only used by 1,000 or mm-hmm. even 10,000 users. Then the chip will be so expensive.
Yeah.
So in the future, I would say the large language model will be general, and we are more specific to each individual environment.
Mm. Yeah, for myself, for example, when I first get into the large language model, I was really surprised to see, how capable it is, because I expect much less. But when I tried that, last December, last December, I was shocked that it's so good. But when I spend more time on it, kind of more and more realize its capability is incredible, but it's not like expected. That is, I think this is very distant way from the so-called AGI. Honestly, I think that large language model does not really, have the real intelligence behind it. But it's a great. I always think that large language is like a great new kind of a user experience. It's a new way to receive the input from the users. It's also a new way to render the output to the users. It's like in the old days for software, right? All you have to do is type into the terminal, and the terminal show you the character, so the input and output, right? And there's browsers, right? The input is way much easier. You hit a button, you see, and then you like a magazine, user interface. You feel like, oh, that's browsing. But from some point, like using a dumb terminal and using a browser, so they're kind of the same, just a better user experience. And large language model, I basically talk in natural language. Then you try to understand what's my intention, what's the key, intention in my input, right? And then it's output the natural language to explain the answers, right? What exactly application it can I still believe it really depends. Some of the application you're probably going to be able to achieve with the large language model itself. For example, like writing some kind of article, like translate.
Mm-hmm.
But some of them, there's no way for it can do it, right? You still have the business logic. You still have to do the database query and any of those logic you implement. There's no way for you just to use the language model to achieve this for you. So since this most important logic part is like the brain part of the traditional software, I think there's still a big distance between AGI and the large language model. That's what I think.
Exactly. Exactly. I totally agree with it. Because when the large language model came, a lot of people get excited about the AGI, the intelligence. I do not see intelligence. I just see it's a tool that's so useful that can be the language UI, what I call the LUI, the natural language UI, is a big thing. It enables user to interact with machines and system and other people in a more natural way. Just use the language. Such a big invention for human history. They can use language to precisely tell machine what to do. The precision is such extreme that you cannot express in the graphic user interface. Just imagine what you can tell your cook directly about how you want your gumbao jibing to be cooked, right? I want it a little bit spicy, but not that spicy. It's a Yunnan, Jiangxi type of spicy, but not Hunan type of spicy. And all these kind of things, you just cannot do it in the graphic user interface because it just uses the controls and all the buttons. There should be like 1,000 buttons and so many things that you can, with the language, you can contract it in a sentence, right? So the language UI, I would say, is a big thing in the next 10 years to 20 years instead of the AGI. And also, I have to explain to a lot of people that the language UI is not a replacement of a graphic user interface. Because when we imagine about the history, a lot of people will say, hey, stop a moment, wait a minute. This is done very well in graphic user interface already. Why should I replace it with language UI? I said, no. It's language UI. It's a new thing. Anything that works today with the GUI, that will continue to work in the future as a GUI, right? Just like the volume up and the down button, even today on iPhone, it still uses a physical button, right? Instead of the graphic user interface. So when it works, then it will keep working, right? Don't change it. But so I would expect in the next 20 to 40 years, majority of the graphic user interface, like the phone, like the computer, like everything we have, it still works the same way, but it will be the traditional or legacy way. And there are so many new applications that we have never experienced before, like in cars, in our home, in our communication with us. This was just impossible with a graphic user interface. So will be the addition. So language UI will be addition to the graphic user interface instead of a replacement.
Exactly, I agree with you. In the week, Microsoft, I think the Ignition, right? That's a conference name. predicted in the because Microsoft invested big for the concept called a Copilot. So he predicted that in the future, every software, or especially every business-related software, going to have a Copilot. What do you think? Do you agree with him, or do you have something additional to this?
Well, I cannot say no to this statement, but I can't say yes either. Because if we cannot imagine the future, we just back and look at the history of it. In the year of 2000, we will claim that every business will be connected to the internet. After 20 years, we will say, okay, this is a true statement, right? This is definitely true. But it's all about the time. Like in the year of 2005, after 5 years of commercial large-scale usage of internet in China, I would say, because US is about 7 years ahead of China. Let's just use China as an example. 2000, there are only internet companies connected to internet, right? Majority of the traditional business, they are not online yet. Even for e-commerce, for example, only the people who use the Taobao, they do not have a traditional shop or business at that time. So they are new addition to this ecosystem. Then only after the year of 2010, 2015, we will especially the introduce of a mobile phone, right? And there were so many users, then we can claim today every business is connected to internet. So Satya's statement is true, but we have to pay attention about the timing, right? Because if I claim in the future everything will be connected with X, no matter what X is, it will be true eventually, right? If I claim everyone's body will be connected with a machine in a certain way, you cannot say no. You cannot say it's impossible because after 100 years, after what time, it will be true. So timing is so, when we say every business will have a co-pilot, the danger to interpret this as you think it will happen in 5 years. No, I don't think it will happen in 5 years because there are so many things that need to be done before it can be used in real life.
Yeah, I think first of all, I think I really like the concept called a co-pilot, right? So because co-pilot basically means it's a pilot. So the AI is just a co-pilot, right? So that's kind of removed a lot of kind of worry about that our human becomes a slave of AI. So I kind of like the idea. Building the AI application right now is not building something to replace human, but instead it becomes an intelligent assistant to help assist you, guide you, right? Like act as a co-pilot, but you are still the pilot. You are still in control. You decide to fly. You decide the altitude, and but the co-pilot can remind you, hey, you probably going too low or too high, or sometimes you're tired. You say, hey, have back over and do the autopilot for a bit. But whenever I want to take over, I can take over. That's co-pilot, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but for the AGI, so I constantly have the questions because every time I talk to, for example, when I talk to you, right, you're in the industry, you have software. I found almost all the people I talked with enough software or background is kind of lean to me that does not believe that large language model is close to AGI. However, there's still a lot of people believe that the AGI is already achieved. For example, these days the drama in the OpenAI, actually that's probably Sam Altman said, like they have some GPT-5 or something in the labs, already show incredible talent that AGI is near, right? So I don't know. I just don't know is that possible that there is something that we didn't see it, or because we know too much that we cannot believe it, but actually it is there, that we are the dumbest person because we think to the software and computer science. What do you think? So sometimes I thought to myself,
Well, yeah, that's a very very thought. I would say I do not believe in AGI. There are twofold to this statement. Fold is AGI is a moving target, right? 10
exactly.
years ago,
Imagine today's
always moving.
Yeah, today's like even dishwasher. If you you can back to like 20 years or 30 years back to the old days. If you can have a time traveler, that would be like the super intelligent AI dishwasher.
Right, exactly, exactly. Like I even 10 years ago or 20 years ago, what people means by AGI is the current Chat GPT, right? The current Chat GPT is definitely AGI 20 years ago. But now we think it's not AGI. We need something more intelligent. Then after 10 years, 20 years, when the really, really capable model came, then we say, no, it's not AGI. It still cannot solve all the math problem in 1 second. It cannot tell us the secret of all the galaxy, right? So it is one part is it is a moving target. And the second is based on the development of science and technology, I just don't believe everything can move so fast. If you tell me we can achieve AGI in 10 years, you are basically convincing me to believe that in one it is the light, right? It brings light to a being in year 1, and in year 5 is to use which transmission of all the power, and in year 10 there is a computer, and in internet is invented and well adapted in the year of 2015, blah blah. So you just cannot imagine, right? This journey took human about 100 years to travel, right? So GPT or even GPT-3, which came about 2-3 years, it is a breakthrough, just like the light, just like the electricity. But I'm not convinced that in 10 years or 50 years, it will become what people imagine. Because we always have the capacity to imagine what is going on in 50 years, right? Look at the history, look at all the science fiction, look at all the papers. When something came, most of the smart people, they can envision what this technology and what this human society will look like precisely about 50 or 100 years later. That has been proven true for many, many times. So if we can imagine something, well, there is a limitation to our imagination, right? With a lot of people and all the papers, I do not anything that's fundamentally astonishing or surprising to me, right? So our imagination of our limit is basically the same, right? We think about blah, blah, there are so many imagination. So if that is the limit of our imagination, I would define it as the limit of what people can achieve in 50 to 100 years. So, well, it can be maybe by 50, maybe by 20%, because all the development of all the science and technology is accelerating, and it is moving faster and faster. But still, I do not believe it will be so fast that it can be 1/10 or half of the time needed for last generation of technology.
Yeah, I really agree with you about that. That the AGI itself is a very, very, very blurred and moving. However, I think, for example, when I listened to the Eli, is AI chief scientist, and he had an interview, I think that's interviews ago. He said the reason why he's worried about let's forget about what's exactly the AGI, but he explained a few things that AGI address. One simplest thing he said the fake news, because a few years ago the fake news was for the whole U.S. Elections, right? And he mentioned that today if you are creating fake news content, people already be able to do it. But once the AGI becomes a tool that everybody, you can see a lot of fake content created immediately. Now we see, that's his interview like a couple of years ago. We can see the Mid Journal and like DAI3 is very easy to create high quality pictures. It's not exactly the real, but it's very close, right? And now there's an AI that can clone and even create replace your face with and when ChatGPT I remember when the ChatGPT and your bot, remember in your company's group, when you just release your bot of that large language model, I create a joke, write a fake news about you. So it's basically like a news, looks like a super real, super professional, but it's completely fake, right? So I think that's indeed already caused some problem. For example, these days when you read the news, you see all those news, all those pictures, they looks like real, but you have to think about it. Is that real or is that something,
Well, yeah, well, I do not believe in this argument, and I clearly disagree because, people will adapt very quickly. Before Photoshop, people believe in pictures. Now we do not believe in pictures. And from believing something, firmly believing something, and seeing is believing, right? To I do not believe it. It's just a reference to I totally do not believe it. So this takes just a few seconds for people to adjust. The first time I see someone mock video that you say, wow, this is amazing. Then 1 second later, you do not believe in any video, right? So this adjustment is so quick and people are so capable of it. So don't worry. Don't think people are idiots. If you create fake news and people will believe it, well, we are much smarter than that. I'll give you one example. Imagine how people get scared when the film was just created. I read some real news that when in a movie theater and when people started, well, at that time there's no theater, but showing a film, and there is a big head on the screen, right? Just like we are we know it's just a zoom in and there is a big head there. There were people scared to death, literally death at that time, because they never saw such a big head in their real world. So this shocking, so overwhelming that their heart cannot bear it. But after you see this film for maybe 1 minute or two, after the dieselness and all the confusion fade out, then you get used to it. Now when you see the film, big head, much bigger than your head, right? 100 times bigger than you. And when you see it, you know it's not real, and you see this world in a completely new way. And you know what's on the movie, what's on the screen, electronic, and all the photographic stuff are, well, literally fake, right? So you enjoy the information and the emotion it brings to you, but you are not so naive to believe it's real. The film is not real. Everyone knows it, right? So in the future, I would say there are all kinds of fake news, fake pictures, fake everything. Just like we know the film, all the films are fake, right? So
nobody complained the film is fake, right? Because people just complain that this film is not fake enough to make me kind of enjoy it.
Believe it. Yeah. When I see an apple in a film, I do not complain I cannot eat it. It's fake. but it's so fake that make me enjoy it. So in the future, I would say all the news are fake, all the images are fake, everything are fake. Even I would see people will invent technology to fake our sense of touch, fake of all the smell, everything is fake. So fake, you cannot tell it's fake. Then that is what the technology is. We are building all these technology. That's the direction. Then we know it's fake, and we enjoy it. That's the future. Today, when we see there are so many concerns about the fake news and blah, 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 all these things, it's just we do not get used to it. So spend some time. It does not take long. It may take 5 years to 20 years to build a technology, and it just take 1 second or 1 minute at most for people to get used to it.
So you believe that human are smart and can evolve. So when the technology of the AGI is kind of become better and better, and the human's brain also getting, so it's not.
Well, it's not yet just I even don't say the human's brain will improve. It can understand. My human's brain does not improve very quickly. I know that, but I can understand it. The cognition of the word, the interpretation of the word will happen in just few minutes. So there are many problems to AGI, but fake news or fake stuff is the weakest.
I think fake news is one of the obvious things, but there's also possibility that, for example, bad guys, use a scam Chinese word. There's another kind of news is that there's a lot of organized crime that try to do them from the telephone, text message with you, right? Today, what they have to do is they have like a play. They have to train on those play to scam you. But in the future, imagine they have an AI, and those AI can help that organized crimes to create all those kind of necessary content, and even fake the voice, fake the picture, fake the videos, and try to scam people. And so that's also pretty scary, right? So
no, that's not scary at all. That's not. People will it's just temporarily, and people will get used to it, and all the laws, technology, and all the systems.
I believe you are smart enough that I believe you not to get scammed, but I do know that a couple get scammed because they are technical service, but they get scammed from the WeChat, right?
Sure. There were many people get scammed, and there were many things happening, but it's a minor, very minor part of the world. This is exactly what happened with any new technology, new, like internet. Internet without online payment. You still remember the eBay each net time?
Yeah, because
basically we are wiring money to someone who I never know before, and wait for them to shift something to us, which never arrived. So there will be technology there are a lot of countermeasures to solve this problem. It is on the way. So I would say this problem is just a temporary problem. It's not a dark future for us.
Yeah, if all kind of equipped with, for example, if the scammer has an AI and also everybody else also have the AI, and the AI agent, my AI agent can help to filter and co-pilot all the things. Hey, this is likely a scam, right? The spam filters. So right now, my emails, whenever there's spam or fish come, usually the email system itself will cut and say this is scam, right? So when everybody get access AI agent, and of course I believe the one AI agent can protect you from a bad guy's AI agent. That could be the future.
So that is one future, but I would say need the AI agent. People's brain will adjust, right?
Yeah,
because
I would
currently
say I
when someone
partly
like you,
agree with you because, like I said, you probably never get scammed. But for example, like people with my mom's age or people in my like old hometown, I heard those stories. Because they are new to the internet, right? So they kind of that anything on the internet or anything sent to them are legit, like it was before. But then they get into a kind of phishing website, and all those phishing using some kind of technology, and also because people do not, very good protection for their computer for their home network. So that's also kind of exposed to the bad guy. So
yeah.
so I kind of believe that the AI just make some of those attack easier, but it also could make you protect that easier. So it's really
Yeah,
depends
right,
on how you defend yourself, right?
right,
It's basically like
right. I totally agree.
yeah, it's basically like right now. I mean, in the U.S. and the Seattle, we have the guns problem, right? So
Hmm.
in the case if I do not, I cannot have a gun. I really get kind of scared because what if some bad guys come to my home, right? And with a gun, there's no way for me to protect. But I can buy the gun, right? So I can buy another gun. I can buy a better gun, either gun with a high tech. So that's kind of make me feel confident that, if both of us have this kind of weapons, and then you are kind of
Hmm.
equal, right?
Hmm.
Mm,
Right, right.
mm,
So when we think about all the bad thing technology brings, we cannot assume that humans are just laying there and do nothing.
mm,
And imagine someone who has a knife.
mm,
Oh, it's so scary. That one will use a knife to kill me.
mm,
Then I would say, don't worry.
mm,
You will defend yourself. You are not
mm,
just sit there and let the guy to kill you, right?
mm,
So there are so many bad things for any technology, and there are countermeasurement. And based on the history, I know the countermeasure, the people put more resources than than the bad guy, or the numbers of what we call the good guy are
mm.
much, much bigger than the number of the bad guy. So that's a very good balance.
Yeah. How about let's talk about, since we talked about brain, right? And let's talk about bright side of the AI.
Mm-hmm.
So I really liked one of the ideas. Actually, work. I believe you also know him, Indigo, and I read one of writing
Mm-hmm.
recently. Is he's have this kind of concept called the external extended brain concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically,
Mm-hmm.
with the AI and with your personal knowledge base, and then the AI could make us become smarter, right? I think there's
Mm-hmm.
this kind of the internet like search engines and the computers actually make us brighter already, right? Because in the past, if we do
Mm-hmm.
not have any of those kind of equipment, and our brains, memory size is very limited, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
but now with the computer, and with the search engine, I can access instantly to a lot of information and knowledge. So even we do not remember
Mm-hmm.
those, so I instantly get more information, more knowledge. But with the
Mm-hmm.
AI, so the AI can then even more better organize, better help me to recall the information whenever I. So that kind of makes people. That's is kind of extended our brain. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Sure, this completely agree. But sometimes I do not about the count.
Mhm,
Just internet is a product. The browser is a product. Website is a product. Then we can use the Chat GPT and all those large language model as our tools. And
mhm,
I'm more interested to understand how we use it. Is
mhm,
it part of my extended brain? Yeah, 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 sure, sure. Yes, yes, yes. Then well, yeah, it does not impact the way I use it. It
mhm,
doesn't impact any of my decision. It is
mhm,
just the one way to look at the world, which I really agree, but that's a very uh, understanding about what is going on. There's nothing new, nothing insightful. Well,
mhm.
it's just a normal, natural understanding.
So for your current business, right? So you are having the enterprise knowledge base, like to have a
Mm-hmm.
bot to talking to the
Mm-hmm.
customers, or I don't know what exactly it's doing right now. I see your early beta version before. It's basically like a
Mm-hmm.
more focus on customer service at the time.
Right, right.
So I think that's actually a
Yeah.
perfect case that you are using the AI to extending customer service agent. So
Yes, yes.
yeah,
I
so
would say,
mm,
I would say current our goal is to the customer service representative to answer all the questions once, not 1,000 times.
mm,
There are a lot of people with a goal to let the AI to answer all the questions from the first time to the 1,000 time.
mm,
That part I would say is not ready yet. It's just I would position Chatto
mm,
CHATO.cn. This is my
mm,
product. I would position Chatto intelligent machine.
mm,
Right? You have your knowledge or
mm.
your first answer there, and it make 1,000 copies based on very different situation. Not exactly the same, generally the same.
Mm.
I do not work on the experiment to answer everything from with or
Mm.
without the intervention of human, because this is way on the current capacity of large language model.
That's cool. We finish up and discuss
Mm-hmm.
one last thing is since working on the
Mm-hmm.
chatbot, right? So
Right.
there was a lot of companies are have the similar idea from the chatbot to the chat with PDF, chat with human,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
but last when the Open AI developer conference,
Mm-hmm.
they announced the
Mm-hmm.
GPTs and potentially the GPT
Mm-hmm.
store. So that's essentially field, but at least to put a lot of similar startup idea like yours, I think
Mm-hmm.
is of
Mm-hmm.
a potential risk. Because now
Mm-hmm.
OpenAI not only is a large language model provider, they actually entered the space. And a lot of people already
Mm-hmm.
experienced it, experimented with it. For example, I experimented that myself. I found it's actually surprisingly good, right? It's not only it can allow you to have your customer prompt, it also have the rack built in. You can upload like quite a bit of documents. It also support the actions, which is essentially you write program to train it. Do you think? First of, I have two questions. First, do this is a big risk for a app like yours, and what do you think for other startups? Right, for you're more experienced.
Mm-hmm.
What do you suggest them to deal with this kind of situation when OpenAI or another large language is trying to do your territory by by releasing those features?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Well, I definitely do not have suggestions because we are trying to survive
Good.
ourselves. We're still trying to figure it out. Uh,
Mm.
if you know the answers, tell me. But our is first of all, what happened.
Mm.
What is going to happen will happen. This is a dynamic and uncertain environment. So I'm not referring to just this developer conference, but also the futures of all the big companies releasing all kinds of features. So we just have to continuously moving, right? So this is a basic principle, and it's nice
Mm.
if the today is a surprise, then get ready to be surprised every few weeks,
Mm.
right? So this should be the expectation. It should not be the surprise. Okay. The what OPS doing is moving the sea level up,
Mm.
and we should be a boat, not a rock,
Mm.
right? If you just like the rock attached to the ground, the bottom of the sea, then when the sea level goes up, you will disappear, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you are a boat,
Mm.
you are always one meter higher than the sea level.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what most of the startups is doing. Obviously, we are not lucky enough to be the sea right
Mm-hmm.
now, most of us, we have to realize we are not that today.
Mm.
But to leverage whatever the C has already offered is so critical. The OpenAI, it continues to provide more functionality. Every time we just have two emotions. Oh, shit. We did a lot of things, and now it is just a one click of the button. The second thing is it's so exciting because we are user to the user needs. Like I have a customer, right? I have a real customer, a lot of real customers. They want to do this, like 100 meters high. And now OpenAI before is just on the ground zero. We have to build this 100 meters by ourselves, which is sometimes it take a lot of resources to do it. And now the sea level going from ground zero to ground 10, right? Then we should adapt it, and we only need to build 90 meters. And at the same time, there are some other framework out of OpenAI, maybe front-end framework or the Python library. They provide another 10 meters. So we get everything together here and assembling a stack to reach that customer needs. So this is what a technical company should do. We need to provide a solution that work, and we don't worry or just get confused about whether the technology need to be us or others. If you really get so confused, then imagine why you use Intel chip, right? Why you use Linux system? Why you use MySQL? Why all these tools and building block does not hurt your business, right? So OpenAI, it will provide platform and tools, just like the building block, like the sea level we just mentioned. It is moving right, and every move you have to adjust. But this is a competitive advantage any startup has over the bigger companies or slower companies. We should be grateful to this quick changing environment. You look at the internet in the last 5 years, there's no change. No change, there's no opportunity for any startup.
That's remind me. Remind me one of the jokes that for Microsoft a very long time ago. They say that if you are a startup, right? So and people find out Microsoft is doing something very similar to you, it's bad news. Microsoft is doing have the same product as yours, right? But it's even worse news that Microsoft does not do anything, similar to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly, right. So since a lot of people may think that you get killed by OpenAI, but actually that's good news. That basically means our direction, our sense is right, because those smart people, they think the same, and they are actually moving slower because they're a bigger company and they have a lot of burdens. And we as an entrepreneur, we just keep moving faster, and we find a new direction. Like you said, we just keep floating, and we take advantage of whatever they just newly offered, and we always be faster. And then we have the opportunities, right?
Yeah, and also on the factual level, what they provide is not as big as you imagine. They are human. They are just 700 people. For large language model, there are some secret sauce, but for the recent GPTs and all the application layer stuff they released in the dev conference, it's just application, okay? It's large language model is a big thing, and I admit I cannot do it. But for the application layer, especially about the interface layer, about how the data get into it, and this type of thing, they have a capacity limit. I just don't imagine 700 people will do the application layer better than the millions of developers and companies combined. So don't all get over panic. Is anyone who is really panic, they do not understand what is going on. It's a release. if you a media, yeah, if you are a reporter and if you write your article, whether you express the emotion of shock, surprising, get more page view for your article, or just say, well, this is what is going on. That's not cool and objective analysis. Then you understand. So understand on to open about the OpenAI's Dev Day conference. We need to understand how the media works instead of how OpenAI works.
Yeah, media is apparently, right, media, they just want to kind of amplify or whatever, shock, whatever,
Right.
make people anxious, especially like
Right.
in the last few days, I can quickly see how rumors or how the obvious fake news get picked up by the media, and the media instantly turn a rumor into something that looks like a news, and this news get amplified by itself. I believe those kind of reporters and those journalists, they are not an idiot, right? So they can clearly tell that's not, but it's their job, right? So they want you to
Right.
panic.
Right.
They want you to think like in that way. So they pretend that they don't know. They pretend, and so that's how it works.
Right. Right.
Yeah, awesome. So I think we have a very interesting and exciting talks today, and thanks a lot for your time to join the podcast.
Sure.
Let's do something more in the future.
Yeah, thanks for inviting. Excited about what is going on there. It is every part is moving, and it get sometimes get dieseled, sometimes get used. But I enjoy this all kinds of strong emotions and all the cushion, all the challenge, fears, and all these things because this is something we lack in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
In the second half.
Now we are not
internet,
just
right?
getting 140
So
characters, right? So we're not no longer,
right.
yeah, that's we know. So that was so boring, right? In the past so many years, all you get is 140 characters. Now we get much longer.
Right. So this is a very exciting moment, and I'm very excited to be this new revolution and be part of it, just as we were part of the early stage of the internet and social media and all kinds of things.
That's great. Yeah, let's say goodbye to the audience.
Okay, thanks, and thanks for listening. Goodbye. Hopefully we will review this podcast in 10 years and see whether we were too conservative or too aggressive.
That's great.